and welcome to another beautiful episode of Softline. I'm Nancy Vanigo, and with me today I have Eddie Young. Hey, Young. Eddie, how are you?
Why that tone? Eddie Young. Hey, Young.
How you doing, Eddie?
I'm fine, thank you, Nancy. And you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Happy New Week.
Same to you.
Eid Mubarak.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Barka da Sallah.
Barka da Sallah. There's this other name. Eid Alpha. Is it Alpha also?
Eddie Young. Barka da
you don't want to
Sallah.
get Hello, everyone. How are you out there?
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, it's a beautiful day, and we're all out here once again to start our week, knowing that you are out there watching us. Trust us, it's going to be a beautiful week. Topics that will interest you, excite you, educate you all through. And guess what? Today is another more special because our mother is +1 today. I'm so excited. I think I'm even more excited to know that this beautiful woman, a woman of substance, a woman whom everybody adore, and is fondly called a Kaisadenbom. You know what that means? A compassionate mother. Do I need to say more? Happy birthday, Mom. I know you don't miss watching Softline.
Yeah.
Thanks for all you do to humanity.
All right.
So, yeah, we'll take you through. Just stay there.
Yeah, let me also wish our mommy a happy birthday to you, our esteemed leader, Dr. Mrs. Ekaite Uloma Akpabio. Today we celebrate not just your special day, but the profound impact you've had on our lives, organization, and our community. Your leadership, wisdom, compassion have inspired countless individuals like me, and we are grateful for your dedication. We are honored to showcase your remarkable journey in a special documentary highlighting some of your achievements and triumphs. So here is to, like we're going to toast, here is to many years to come. Should we toast?
Our specially made brew. Be careful so that I don't spill it just for her. Cheers.
All right, this documentary is for you, ma'am.
Today we celebrate a woman of grace, purpose, and profound compassion, Her Excellency, Dr. Mrs. Ekaite Unoma Godswill-Akpabio, as she marks another year of remarkable life and service. Born on June 9, 1971, in the serene community of Agwobowa in Ezago local government area, all in Enugu State. She is the daughter of the late Godwin and Beatrice Nkemdelim Ejike. Her early life was rooted in strong values, nurtured through her education at Zik Avenue Primary School and City Girls Secondary School, both in Enugu. She went on to earn a degree in education accounting from Abia State University, but beyond the numbers, Mrs. Akpabio found her true calling in serving humanity. As the wife of the Senate President of Nigeria, she has embraced this national platform with renewed passion and purpose. While she's no stranger to humanitarian work, having championed several causes during her time as First Lady in Akwa Ibom, today she operates with an even broader vision, touching lives across Nigeria. Dr. Mrs. Akpabio remains the founder of the popular Family Life Enhancement Initiative, a non-profit organization she established to strengthen families, empower women, and uplift the marginalized, a platform of which successive governments and their first ladies emulated. In recent times, her initiatives have reached far beyond state borders through community outreach, skill acquisition programs, educational support, and aid to the physically challenged. She has given hope to the helpless and restored dignity to many, from distributing assistive devices to the disabled to providing housing for the homeless. Dr. Mrs. Akpabio's work is not only charitable, it is transformational. A devout Catholic, she draws her strength from her deep faith and her enduring devotion to humanity. It is the spiritual foundation that fuels her empathy, compassion, and unwavering commitment to others. In her supportive role beside the Senate President, Chief Dr. Godswill-Akpabio, she continues to lead quietly but powerfully, advocating for inclusive development, women's rights, and national unity. Her influence extends behind the scenes, where she encourages policy conversations that protect the most vulnerable. As she turns 54 today, we honor not just her years, but her impact. Dr. Mrs. Ekaite Unorma Godswill is a woman whose kindness knows no boundaries and whose legacy continues to grow. One life, one family, and one act of love at a time. Her birthday. Happy birthday, Madame. May your days be filled with joy, your hands with purpose, and your heart with peace.
Happy birthday to Her Excellency Dr. Mrs. Ekaite Unorma from all of us at Passion ADVN. We wish you many more years of good health. A wonderful woman, an exceptional woman, a lioness in my description. Today is your day. We're celebrating you, and we're only praying for good health and God's blessings.
Birthday to an Amazon. Ma, on this day of your birth, we wish you nothing but happiness, long life, and prosperity. Thank you for training us all through these years and taking us under your wings. We appreciate you, and I love you. Happy birthday, ma.
Ray, happy birthday, our mother, Ekaisenbom, the lioness of Akwa Ibom. I wish you more years of impactful impact, good health, and long life. Congratulations. Happy birthday, ma.
Excellency, Mommy Personified CEO, that's what I call you, Dr. Extraordinaire. I want to wish you a happy birthday, long life, and prosperity. Hip, hip, hip.
To Dr. Mrs. Unorma Akpabio, the mother of all mothers, a woman that is super. She has touched so many lives.
Happy birthday, Her Excellency!
Right, so what a nice woman. Happy birthday, ma'am, as you continue to enjoy your day. So let's dive into our main conversation for today. Now, I'm going to start with a question. Are we really doing enough to ensure our children's safety, or are we just hoping for the best? Let's dive into the crucial conversation on keeping kids safe, understanding and preventing sexual abuse, and explore ways to turn hope into action. So joining us today is MfonMfon Udo, Esquire. She's a vice chairperson FIDA Uyo. You're welcome, ma'am. I gave you a double name, right?
No, you didn't.
Okay, I said you said so I was like.
No, I think it's the emphasis and the stress.
Oh,
on
okay,
okay.
okay.
I think I'll school you on pronouncing the name.
Okay,
no,
okay.
You'll get better with time.
But I think you should just tell me so that
MfonMfon.
Okay, not MfonMfon. MfonMfon.
MfonMfon.
Oh, okay. All right, that's nice. Nice name. Thank you.
Very nice.
Yeah, nice name, I must say, MfonMfon. All right, so let's dive into this crucial conversation, ma'am. We're talking about sexual abuse. And before we start, I would like you to tell us what exactly is child sexual abuse? How does it manifest? How do we notice it? And how do we spot, when it's about to happen or when it has already happened? Are there things we should take note of, when we talk about sexual abuse in children?
Okay, but I mean, why was it when you guys said hi to now?
Oh!
See my sister. How you doing, my darling? This
we just took you on the spot with our compliments. Sorry about that.
Okay, let's get back to it. Child sexual abuse. According to the World Health Organization, it would mean when a child is involved in sexual activity without fully comprehending what it is they are doing, 1, 2, without giving consent, and 3, without when it violates the law.
Okay.
Why the law comes in is that in Nigeria, the Child Rights Act, enacted after following most of the United Nations protocols has held that a child, I mean, and that is the main Child Act in Nigeria. A child is somebody under the age of 18. So as long as a child as long as someone is under the age of 18, is a child. He or she is a child. And in Nigeria, someone under the age of 18 cannot give consent.
Okay.
So in other words, so paraphrasing the definition now, we are saying that child sexual abuse is when a person under the age of 18 is involved in sexual activity without fully comprehending, and one that cannot give consent, and when it is against the law. Because some idiots would argue that this child looks mature, now some 15 years old, 20, and that this child gave consent. They say it doesn't matter, even if the child is 17 and a half. And even if the child is the one that hit on you, as long as that child is not 18, right, it is child sexual abuse.
Wow, that's a different dimension to the whole thing now, because, you know, these days we see children 12 years and they're looking like 18 already.
Well, it's on you to have known the age of the child. When the age of that child is, when that child can be proven with a birth certificate to be less than 18, then you have committed a crime. It doesn't matter how the child looks, doesn't matter how the child dressed, doesn't matter the circumstances. A child under the age of 18 cannot give consent.
So more worrisome is when you have this, and it has to do with the minors. No, you can at least understand when a child has crossed the teen age and presents itself like, you know, that could be handled. But then you just mentioned something that even if the child throws herself on you, it's
still an offense.
Exactly, it's still an offense. But more worrisome is when we have to look at the children, the minor children. Now, talking about the abuse itself, what would make a sane person get attracted to a minor to a point of abusing that child?
Well, my sister, I did wrong. If you noticed, I was very careful not to even speak about those ones, because I don't have my way. Those ones should not see the light of day anymore. So
the abusers, right?
Yes, the abusers. There is no justification under the book in anywhere, even if you were drunk, even if you were under the influence, you know. And when you come to places like FIDA, we see cases 1 year. I mean, so for those ones, I mean, I don't even think they should see the light of day anymore. So that's why, if you see, I was very careful not to even speak about those ones there yet. You know, I'll get there, but when I started this definition, because there are sometimes you will hear, I didn't know she was, I didn't know she's the one that came at me. I know we hear those kind of stupid excuses. So that's why I even went there, to let the world know that, look, even if this girl is the one that came, so I'm talking about the teenagers here. Yes, that even if she's the one that came at you, once it's established that she's not yet 18, it is a crime. Now, for those ones we call them, I'm sure those were, you know, because this name sounds, there's English name pedophiles. Yeah, maybe they think it sounds nice. but I really don't get it. I don't get how someone can be.
You know, when you were making that, when you say they shouldn't see the light of the day, I totally agree with you. But there are circumstances where even the abusers are children themselves.
No.
Yeah.
The abusers are children themselves, you know, because I heard of a story of siblings. The boy is just 12, the elder brother of the 5-year-old child. So when you talk about not seeing the light of the day, what would you do to such a child?
Sorry, before she adds to that, there was a viral video of a 15-year-old boy who impregnated about 8.
Yeah, 10.
Okay.
Yeah, an apprentice, 18 years old.
So he's as we speak, a minor or a child under the law, and he's committing this kind of crime.
Not just 1, 10. In 24 months, impregnated 10 women, 10 girls.
Well, when it comes to child to child, all right, first of all, you also know that the legal capacity to commit a crime as a child. But you find out that these cases you're talking about, I wouldn't say light of day for those ones, because it brings me back to what I'm passionate about, parenting. When is a 12-year-old boy to his 8-year-old sister? Now, it takes us back to how are they being trained at home?
Okay.
Now, so for me, this discussion, that part of the discussion is parenting. Now, it's a parental failure. Now, we will get there now. But the part I'm talking about now was when a full-blown man, right, is attracted to, you know. But let me just put this in there. That child, that 12-year-old, you know, right now there's a rise on incestuous relationships. That 12-year-old that is sleeping with his sister has seen that behavior somewhere. Now, I go to tell parents, the act of parenting is very intentional. Some people would claim, oh, we live in a one room. Now, there's a case that I've handled of an 8-year-old boy that has been sleeping with his sister for about 2 years. And the boy says he watches his parents at night in one room. And when the parents think the children are sleeping, and they do their thing.
Not knowing that
these children are awake, and maybe they were a bit noisy. And from there, you had to practice somewhere. You know, so this is this is to tell us that, look, something must give when you're a parent. Maybe your financial circumstances is that you have to live in one room. Then adjust your timing. Because you have to sacrifice something for these children. You know, because this, see, for them, when the child is exposed to those images, the brain doesn't delete. Except we want to do infallibility. I mean, we want to feel as if we didn't have feelings, or we didn't understand these things when we were young. But there was still something called mommy and daddy game in our time.
Yeah, because naturally, I think there's a natural instinct in every human being.
So
as a child, at you know, a certain developmental stage.
So puberty, when puberty kicks in, and we have noticed that puberty is coming in earlier these days. Maybe because of food, maybe because of parental neglect, right? Maybe also because of exposure, the things they are seeing now. So the children are more exposed these days. And for someone that I used to like reading Mills and Bones. I started reading Mills and Bones at about primary 5. Okay. So some of these images, some of these things were very explicit. And except for want of way to practice. So a child watching his parents carrying out this act every other time would perform it somewhere. And this boy in question took it to school. He's always following people into the toilet, you know. But it still comes back to where did he learn it from. So for that side, that child needs more of therapy. That child needs more of therapy, a lot of therapy. Because if not, he's going to live with this, it's trauma, right? Is this lack of ability to control self, he would grow up with it. So at that point, I'm not looking at it at that age as crime. I'm looking at it as parental failure, right? And because of that, we need to help that child to help the society. So it's more of therapy for me at that age than
locking away.
Than locking away, yes.
Okay, I think we've gotten to a point where we can look at when exactly do we imbibe or start giving our children sex education.
Sex education. Before you answer that, you know, a few days ago, my son, they went out on a birthday party with a friend. And then when they came back in the evening, my son came close to me and told me that, Mom, I saw something I'm not supposed to see today. I saw something I was not supposed to see today. I didn't pay attention, but I felt it was one of those things. But when he said it again, I said, what did you see? He said, well, my friend brought a phone, and the phone was from his caregiver. And then we went to TikTok. And then suddenly I saw a man bringing out his pennies. And then I saw a woman twerking. And then I saw she put his, God. In fact, I was frozen. I didn't know where to start. I didn't know how to start explaining to him. You know, so the only thing I could do at that moment was take it off your mind. And then I pretended I was busy because I needed to, get a grip
Comprehend,
of the
like, I
whole
know how
thing.
to-
Yeah, it just came all of a sudden. I just didn't know how to react. You know, if it was my mother's days, back in the days, on a slap first of all, you know, they will first of all give you a serious beating that I'm sure by the time they finish beating you, the image of that will go off your head. But that's not how we bring up children these days. So it's quite difficult. So as a parent now, I am asking you that situations like this, how would you advise parents to handle it?
Okay, I'll try to take the two questions in one. Eddie, sex education should start from even when the child is in your womb. Now, I wouldn't like to call it sex education. I'd rather call it sex conversation.
Conversation.
Yes, because when we
sounds
say
better.
when it's education, it looks as if it's an abstract thingy. But when it's a conversation, it starts with the everyday thing, with the everyday life. So I'm saying, why I'm saying when the child starts with your womb, when the child is in the womb, the relationship between the child and the mother. I mean, if you are someone that reads childbirth starts from when you can communicate with the baby in the womb. So the baby recognizes your voice, you speak to that child. You start to form a talking relationship with that child. Science had said that the child that is spoken to, right, feels a secure attachment to the mother. You know, so it continues from that, and the talking starts from there, right? Now, it's for me, the faculty for sex conversation is the parent. We would like to sublet our responsibilities. It's not for the school. It's not even for the churches. Because you are the one that knows the value system you want in your home. So if you don't lay the foundation of what it is you want in your home, now another person will be teaching your child their own values. Now, we are not here to talk about wrong or right. We are here to talk about how do you want your child, your own child, to grow. Okay, so start the conversations very early.
Okay.
And it starts, for me, it starts with identity. Identity. And what do I call identity? Let your child know who we are in this family. Because you see this conversation of identity, if you don't know who you are, when you know who you are, there are things you don't do. So, you see that thing that, first of all, I don't believe in public and private parts. I believe that every part of the body is private. Why? Because sex doesn't even start in the inner part. It starts with the hand. I don't know if they still do it these days, but I mean, there were idiots when we were younger that would, when they are shaking you, they would do that thing of scratching your inner arm. Now, those were sexual innuendos at that time, you know. So, and just like we said, there are feelings. So if you're saying your hand is a public part, and someone caresses your hand.
So is it allowed?
Now, that is not allowed. And that's what I'm trying to say. If this person is someone you are close to, a trusted adult in your house, you know this can bring up the sexual feeling we're talking about as early as 6, 7. So someone keeps doing this. This is not in our eye. This is not a private part. So it's allowed. Someone plays with your earlobe. It's not in quotes, a private part. But those are sexual overtones. That a child, we forget that there's something called hormones. And that these people are human beings. They also have feelings. I think we forget that children have feelings. Especially when they start puberty or they start that journey. Now, so when someone does that consistently, your body is the temple of God. Boundaries, nobody should touch you in certain ways.
Okay, but then those kind of feeling, harassing, I mean, they can be done by parents also. We know these days children like this hobby-dobby, you know, attachment with parents. Yes. So I think harassing of the hand shouldn't be...
The difference is that the parents will not do it in private.
Okay.
Now, so that's when the conversation starts with us.
Okay.
As much as possible, when you are a parent, if you listen to, if you speak to children, especially that have been abused, okay. I'm not talking about that have been raped. I'm talking about abused. Now, the difference between rape and abuse now is that rape is the act, the violent, the forceful act. Okay. But a child that's abused repeatedly, like, see, that's an abuse. Pornography, that's an abuse. It's subtle, yes. It's not penetrative, it's not physical, but that is an abuse. So you can imagine an adult showing this to a child. You have, the child's curiosity is awakened. Repeatedly, before you know what is happening, this child gets hooked on pornography. So right now, it's not just the act of sex that we are talking about. We are talking about every other thing. So most times we have discovered that children learn. So let's start from pornography, from the parents. As a parent, like I said, something must give. I hope your phone will not be the first place that your child is seeing pornography.
You know, I like that you mentioned that for us to recognize these abuses when we see them. But are there other subtle, ways or things to, to let us know that this child is, facing sexual abuse or something?
And I'll be quick to ask, when you talk about the touches and all of that, you see parents of these days giving a peck, hugs, kiss, and then telling the child, I love you. So some people frown at you telling your child you love her or him, or hugging and kissing. So at this point, like I said,
what is wrong and what is right?
Well, I think everything should be done with moderation. I don't think I've kissed my son, on his mouth. Yes, I've given him a peck.
Okay.
Right? Oh, mwah, mwah. I think it's a no-no to kiss your child on the mouth. Those are borderline extremes, because there are things you shouldn't make to look normal. Because by the time anything you allow as a parent, the child sees it as their inner culture. So a kiss, really. I mean, on the forehead, those are. Even if you go, for the mark of respectability, there are things that show decorum. A peck on the forehead is affection. It doesn't have to be sensual, right? There are some things that are supposed to be done between couples that are engaged in a sexual relation, So it's, I'm just thinking that even the act of, even if you are tapping, okay, now, Nancy here, if Didi was going through something and you come and go like, it's okay, it's fine. Now, that is not the sexual matter. It's a difference between doing this, stroking, and so I'm just saying everything should be done borderline. You can show affection to your child without the sensuality. Oh, how are you today? It's different from the stroke. So let's just be.
All right. We'll go on a very short break. I want to come back. Let's talk about prevention now.
Okay.
Yeah, since we've talked about the signs and, we'll talk about prevention. Let's go on a very short break. We'll be right back. Stay with us.
Into the heartbeat of the world, where news meets real talk. From breakthroughs in diplomacy to humanitarian challenges and scientific milestones, Global Digest takes you beyond the headlines and straight to the heart of the matter. I am Amma Marcus. Be a part of the world unfolding stories at 3 p.m. on ADBN, channel 258 on DSTV, and Star Times, channel 140. Global Digest, your window to the world's current affairs. only on Advocate Broadcasting Network.
All right, thank you for being there and welcome back. At this point, we're going to open our phone lines. The numbers will be scrolled at the bottom of your screen. If our director can just pull it up so I can call it, but anyway, it's there. So if you want to call us, you can just call us, and if you want to tweet, you can still tweet to that same number. We would read your tweet. Okay, so before we continue back with our guests, let's take some few tweets. Okay, so we have the very first tweet here, and it's from Diana, and he said, or she said, a sexual abused child usually lives within network of relationship that are in reality only pretense. This child is an accepted member of the family system only as long as he or she pretends nothing is wrong. You understand that, right? All right, so the second tweet says sexual abuse. If a child tells you they have been abused, tell the child is not going to get, or the child is not going to get into trouble for speaking up. Gather all the info, get to the police station, and open a case against the abuser. And the next one says, so your daughter is 10 and you haven't taught her about her body? Also, sex education helps kids identify sexual abuse. So you are concerned about your kids being taken advantage of, but don't want to give them the tools to help them identify it. That's a great question there. And then the last tweet here says, any exposure of sexual activity to a child or engage in sexual behavior is considered sexual abuse and is a crime to humanity. It is time for us as a society to unite and put an end to this tragedy. It's a great tragedy, I must say. All right, so we're going to talk about prevention until we get our call. We've talked about prevention, and then there's this question I would like to ask. When a parent, for instance now, a mother, a father, or a caregiver discovered her child or his child had been abused, I know women, we get overwhelmed, we get emotional. Sometimes we blow these things out of proportion, and then we end up making or marrying that case, you know, and then we put that child in a position where the child is even afraid to tell you more. So let's start with that question. When a caregiver finds out the child has been molested, how are they supposed to handle that case?
Nancy, I think the first thing every mother or every parent, caregiver, should do is get education.
Okay.
Now, in getting education, also emotional intelligence. Now,
very key.
because just like you did not react just like you reacted when your son, you were calm. The only part I don't like was that you did not educate him.
Absolutely.
Now, we are hiding
and
under
because I didn't know what to say.
Yes.
Yeah.
We are all hiding under the guise that our children don't know. My darling, our children know more than we think they know. Because you might shelter your own child, but you see, he went out.
I tell you.
And another child from another home, whose parents have not put in the media guide, give the child a phone, and they can have access to pornography. We can't shelter our children. Our bedrooms, our houses are too small. Now, so the best you can do for your child is educate your child. I was speaking to someone yesterday, and she said, why should you mention sex, the word sex, to a 3 to 5 year old? And I was like, you assume the 3 to 5 year old have not heard of sex before? And she was like, no, you are the one spoiling the child. I said, no, it's because of how you are thinking about it. First of all, if you are filling a form and they put sex, what is that? Gender, male or female? So that's where you start from. At that age, sex is male or female. And at that age, that means I am a girl and he's a boy. I have a vagina and he has a penis. Now, that's not too much for a 3-year-old.
Okay.
Whether you like it or not. I'm not saying go and tell your 3-year-old about making out. But it starts from that distinction. And it's from there you say that, look, you don't go into a boy's toilet. You don't go into it. So that's what I'm saying. I call it sex conversations, not education, because these are discussions you should have with your child every time. Now, we are not informed as parents. Now, this is the pride one. That's what I'm saying. Sex conversation also comes to do with your values. So, if you don't think there's anything wrong, with a boy being a girl. That conversation might not be important to you. Have you seen where we are going to? Now, this is the Pride Month. I mean, for some parents, they might not even know what the Pride Month is. Go and find out. I'm not going to explain that to you. So, if your value, right, is that it's a no-no, that means I'm going to start now to let my boy know that you are a boy, no matter how cute or fine I think you are. Which brings me back to value. I have never plaited my son's hair. I would never do it. It's my value. It's not the right or wrong for me here now. Your own value might be that you should plait and wear earrings for him. But for me, it's a no-no. Because only last month, we saw a boy that was born again, whatever, quote, in Nigeria, right? And then he went abroad and he's gotten married to a man. Now, so I say it comes back to the values the boy had in Nigeria. Maybe nobody really sat down. They just thought he's a church boy. Now, that is not, if you are being born again without skills, in these days where doctrines are, you can easily be swayed away. So it starts now with saying, you can't wear earrings in my house. You are a boy. That is my value. No matter how I think you're cute, I'm not going to braid your hair. Now, so my conversation, my sex conversation in my home to my son would be, Nana, these are no-nos for us. Next thing I'll go, prevention we are talking about. Now, what is the system in your home? The system even includes the pop culture. What songs are they listening to in your home? Talking about Pride Month, there's a song called, there's somebody called Lil Nas. I'll mention the name here. And it's What I Want. You guys should go and listen to the song. Now, he's talking about a black guy and how it's difficult to love, being gay and all of that. That song has 165 million views on YouTube by young people. By young people.
Tells a lot.
Tells a lot. So what culture, what music do you allow to play in your home? Now, let's leave the Pride Month now. There's somebody called Rema. Right? I'm mentioning names now so that we understand what I'm talking about. Now, Rema has this song called Soundgasm. These children play this at their parties. And Soundgasm, a line in Soundgasm says, he's talking to a female child. Am I not here? Because it says, when your daddy goes out, I will come in. The lyrics, I need you guys, when you're done from here, to go and read the lyrics of Soundgasm by Rema. What our children are dancing to it. Before you know what is happening, it becomes a culture.
And singing to it.
And singing to it and dancing to it. You, the mother, also vibing to it. So in other words,
ignorant.
There's nothing wrong with it. It becomes a culture. These are things we hear. Faith comes by hearing. So when daddy leaves and someone comes in to sleep with her, remember, these are the things we dance to. That child's resistance might be.
I'm sure so many people will not agree with this point now.
It's their opinion.
But then we just have to say it because it's the truth.
It's like I said, it depends on your value system. It's your value system. So if that's fine with you, but those are. So if you are going to tell a child, don't allow a stranger to touch you. Or don't somebody should not touch you. But you are okay with Soundgasm. I think part of why our teenagers revolt is the hypocrisy. You don't tell me don't do this, but by your body language, you are allowing this. So I'm saying, parents, it's okay. Look, I have a lot of young people around me. I didn't have a problem with drinking alcohol and whiskey until one of the young people around me, who was only in JS2, told me that in school he heard that if you put paracetamol inside whiskey, it gives you a high.
JS2?
Yes. Now, I came back as a parent. Am I here to say alcohol, you should not drink alcohol? That's not what the discussion here, right? But the discussion here is, what? So am I leaving this access to this child? Now, this is something I did not know. But when I read about it, I now heard that, yes,
it's true.
Paracetamol gives a certain form, like dopamine. These children are already discussing it in secondary school. So when I used to think it was very cute to have the wine thingy, you know, where you display the wine. But after that,
you cleared everything.
I cleared it. I'm not saying it's right or it's wrong, but I'm saying part of the discussion on sex education is drugs. So am I telling my child alcohol is wrong? All right. But I'm saying it can intoxicate. And when it does, you will make decisions.
You will later regret.
You will later regret. Now relate it to Noah. Noah was drunk. That is why his children, he left naked. So these are the things we are talking about. I'm not saying for the children of Job, from Lot, to sleep with him, they made him drunk. Did I say it is right or wrong to drink alcohol? No, but it can lead you to make decisions. So these are the discussions we are having.
Okay.
Now, so if you drink alcohol, you are no longer with your full faculty to make the right decisions. So this is what I am teaching my child. And so if I want to take it out, so if someone comes to my house and has access to alcohol, all you need to do is feed this child and you have access to this child. So these are the conversations I'm talking about. So the prevention. And then sex, prove your home. Who are those coming into your home? What do they watch when they come into your home? See, the media, right now, you would say, oh, my children don't go out, they don't do this thing, but we are giving our children phones that are not supervised. Digital abuse is on the rise. The children play games, roadblocks, GTA.
Yeah, I've
Now,
heard stories about that roadblock.
In that, in GTA, there are games there are levels you get to, that when you win, you are asked to undress a naked woman. But hey, your son is just playing games.
I tell you.
And you, the parents, are so uninformed. You are unaware, according to our President Buhari. You are unaware, So
I tell you.
That's what I'm saying. As a parent, you need to be informed. What informed me and made me like this? Like I said, I used to read Meals and Bones as early as primary 5. All I needed to do, then we used to use the newspaper to cover our books. All I need to do was cover those books with newspaper. And my friends never checked to find out what we were reading or what I was reading. I was the reader. They just assumed it was school book. So don't assume. Most of us put televisions in the room. Like I said, television should be in central places. So peradventure a child was playing GTA and you are sitting down there and it gets to that level. At least you will see what is happening. But when they have these things in the privacy of their bedroom, there are so many things that cannot be controlled. So you're not putting TV in their rooms, it's not because you can't afford it, but it's self-preservation. You're also trying to see what is going on. What are they watching in your home? Now, you see children watching movies that are rated, of course, the movies that are even rated 13 already have sex scenes. So not to talk of the ones rated 18. Now, so why is your child watching a movie that is rated 18?
When they are just 11, 12.
When they are just 11, 12. Already, the ones that are 7 are already a problem to us.
They're watching it with the parents.
You see, that's what I'm about.
As parents, we watch these things at the kids.
And the kids are there.
And
you know. So the help you have, the people you have in your home, right? My children, if they know no policy, don't touch anybody's phone. Because I don't know what that person is doing on their phone.
I think we should start
right?
with that.
So I know the kind of people I have now, Nancy, around me, because of the stage of my life I am at. Did I say these things are bad? No. Don't forward me those kind of dirty movies. Now, when you do it once or twice, I tell you, Nancy, so my children now, them between this age, do the one. I don't like it, or I know the damn. Now, so the consciousness among my circle is that this is how we want to parent.
Okay.
Now, so I don't need to. My children don't, and no, they don't have access to my phone. But you see this thing of secrecy. Everything in your house is hidden. It also makes your child a secretive person. So as much as possible, I don't have anything to hide, right? I might put the boundaries, but let the child also know that you can be open. So if you have to stop some kind of relationships for the sake of the children you are raising,
just go ahead
please
and do it.
Do what you have to do.
All right, thank you so much. We don't have much time, but then I still want you to answer that question of what mothers should do, caregivers, when they find out their child
how to handle the situation.
How to handle that situation.
The first thing to do is believe your child. It's unfortunate, we've seen cases of where, because of who is involved, my brother's child, and we've shut up the children. We don't believe them. The first thing is believe your child. Most people, even for some of us in these ages, they are traumatized because the first attempt to talk about these things, our parents even called in front of the abuser to say, come and talk, and then these children. So the first thing is believe your child. One. don't react negatively. Don't make it look as if it was your fault. Yes, maybe there are one or two things you have not put in place, but it also gives you your scorecard. What can I do better? Like now, you know what to do better with your son, right? Now you know what to teach him, because he would be exposed to porn again, whether you like it or not. He will see it again. So right now you have to equip him and let him know that this is a no-no. If this happens, flee. Oh, I liked as you told mommy. Oh, this was wonderful. So that he knows he has an ally in you. So parents, please, as much as possible, leave the communication channel with your children open. And when that happens, please let your child see you as someone that will defend them.
Yeah.
I don't care who you are. The moment my child says you have abused, even if I don't want to take it up with the authorities, you will leave my house at that minute. Because this child cannot be looking at an abuser.
Yeah.
Right? It might not be an actual sex, like I said, it might not be, but even if they told me that somebody in the house showed her pornography, you will leave. Because those are not, repeatedly, these things will become a habit. So believe your children. Do what you have to do within the confines of the law, of your family dynamics, right, for your child. And please, if you have to get therapy for your child, get therapy. It depends on the level of exposure. It depends on the level in which the child has gone. There are some you can't handle yourself. I'm not talking of prayer here, please. You might need your child to go through therapy. If that happens, please do that. Whatever it is, let the child know that you are on their side. Because these conversations can only happen when you show to your child that you are a trusted adult. You are someone that the child can come to without feeling ashamed. So this is not the time to say, did you wear this and all. So this is when to call that child to yourself. That's why it comes back to parenting. What kind of relationship do you have with your child? This is not the time of Ndaboski parenting. Your son was able to speak to you because you have a relationship. Without that relationship, that child will speak to somebody else.
Absolutely.
Nature abhors vacuum. So if your child is not speaking to you, your child is speaking to somebody else. And the problem is, who is that person
speaking to? Wow, thank you so much. It's absolutely, you're correct. Some parents, when they get this information, their reaction sometimes spoils the whole thing. Either they make the child not to talk again.
Yeah.
They just send some kind of fear to that child. So so that's why I had to, so that you can talk to parents in case they find themselves in that situation, what they are supposed to do. All right, Eddie?
Yeah, and again, you have a scenario where a child comes from a home where you have set values and you let your child know the values of the home. Remember, like you said, our children go out. So they meet with children who don't come from a home that have values. So what advice would you give to these children that have values out there so that they can protect themselves against others? Because you can't stop them from integrating with other children. They go out to the boarding schools, you see all. So for you that have morals, that have values, and you have come from a home where your parents have talked to you about these things, how can this child guide and guard her space from infiltration?
Oh, Edidion, you really can't stop. You have trained your child at some point, when you have done all you can, you stand. But that's why parenting is intentional. You have to be your child's friend, right? So that in case there is a deviation, you won't have gone too far for you to be able to interfere. You need to know what are their friends. That's why I'm saying have conversations with your child. How did you go in school today? Now, some discussions doesn't have to be, oh, come and sit down, we're talking about sex. It could be, what are your views on this? I have a friend of mine last week was saying she just wanted to have a conversation with her daughter, so she brought out a role play, imaginary situation, like, oh, a mother saw a 13-year-old watching porn. What do you think? And they also like, you have killed me now. And so I'm like, no, I won't. Have you seen this kind of thing before? And it led to a conversation now. So it's not, you just have to keep, because science says that between the ages of, from the age of 11 to, from the ages of 11, we are no longer the most influential people in our children's life. Peer pressure right now comes in. What their friends say is very important at that point. But you are still the most important person. That's why at this point, if you are an Ndaboski mother, you will lose that child. This is not the time to fight. This is time, so when they come back and they tell you, you guide and direct. I'm not saying after doing all of this, your child is going to be, we were not, Eddie, your father was even pastor. Let's not go there. So we were not. So don't, it's just that let us be available to these children, you know, let's be present.
Okay.
Let them know that they have us, you know, so that when they are, and please, there's something I need parents to hear. Please, there's something called the law of first mention.
Okay.
What is the law of first mention? Like the person that talked about 3-year-old and knowing sex. When you have explained something to your child, when the child goes out, you hear that argument? No, my mommy said.
Yeah.
Right? And then the child comes back and say, Mommy, I thought you told me. Now it leads you to a conversation. Now, so let whatever it is your child is hearing be from you first, because you'll be able to handle the narrative.
Okay.
So please, thank you.
All right, thank you so much, MfonMfon, for this wonderful conversation, I must say. Would you want to give us a closing remark in just 1 minute?
Well, love, first mention, please.
Okay,
Speak
that's a good place
to your children. And don't assume. I mean, please get knowledge. There are stages, developmental stages of every child.
Okay.
So it depends on where your child is at,
Okay.
right? But don't assume they don't know. Know what they are supposed to know and have that conversation. That they have not said it to you does not mean they don't know. That means they don't look at you like a trusted person for this. Sex is a very personal conversation. So it's only when there's a relationship that someone can open up and speak about this
conversation. All right. Eddie, we have to go.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, so as we conclude today's meaningful discussion on keeping kids safe, let's take a moment to reflect on the importance of creating a supportive environment for all children. So before we wrap up, I would like to take us back to the special celebration we began with wishing our esteemed CEO, Dr. Mrs. Ekaite Unoma Akpabio, a happy birthday. May her leadership continue to inspire and empower our community. Thank you to our guests for sharing valuable insight and to our audience for engaging in this crucial conversation. Thank you, and let's strive to make a positive impact and keep our kids safe. From all of us here, it's bye-bye and thanks for watching.
Yeah. Take care.